We will first start with the teeth. Recently I was teaching such a lesson within an institute, and the first question the children asked me was that, Ustad, are you a dentist? I said, I'm not a dentist. They said, why are you telling us the names of the teeth? I said, open the back of the glorious Quran. You've got the Tajwid rules written within that. You've got the 17 points of articulation which have been mentioned. I said, look through them and tell me if you find the technical names of teeth anywhere within them. They said, yes, we found incisors. Yes, we've now found molars. We've now found canines. I said, how will you know what or which place your tongue is meant to touch when you don't even know the names of those teeth? Someone says to me that you will get a pizza from, for example, Big Fellas. If I don't know where Big Fellas is, how will I get that pizza? Therefore, this discussion is very important. I will not only teach the names of the teeth, I'll also teach how we can simplify things for ourselves and also other people if we ever intend to teach them in the future, insha'Allah ta'ala. In total, we should have 32 teeth. Remember my wording. I always tell people that my wording in my lessons, courses, webinars is the key. If we pay attention to every one of my words I mention within every sentence of my speech or of my lesson, then there will be no questions. But if we overlook any word and we take it to be insignificant, we disregard it, then we can have many questions. A question can be that I'm counting my teeth within my mouth, I've not got 32. So I said that we usually have 32 teeth in total. Let's understand 32 teeth. Initially, we need to understand that we have a total of 8 incisors. We have a total of 8 incisors. The reason for why we only have 4 within the diagram before ourselves is that it's mainly the top teeth which are relevant once it comes to pronouncing letters within the Arabic language. We hardly use the teeth on the bottom. For this reason, within the diagram, we've only got the top teeth. In total, we have 8 incisors. Within these incisors, we've got 2 different types. Number 1, central incisors. And number 2, lateral incisors. 8 incisors in total. One type is known as central, the other is known as lateral. What are the central incisors? The central incisors are 4 in total. The central incisors are 4 in total. The top 2 front teeth and the bottom 2 front teeth. The top 2 front teeth and the bottom 2 front teeth. These 4 join together and they are known as the central incisors. I mentioned we've got 8 in total. If we minus these 4, which are the central incisors, we have 4 left. These 4 remaining incisors are the lateral incisors. Where are they located? One on the top right, which is closest to which is attached to the central incisor. One on the left top, which is attached to the central incisor. One on the right bottom, which is attached to the central incisor. And one on the left bottom, which is attached to the central incisor. 4 central incisors plus 4 lateral incisors make up our 8 incisors we have in total. Thereafter, we have 4 canines in total. 4 canines in total. Where are these canines? One next to the lateral incisor on the top right. one next to the lateral incisor on the top left, another next to the lateral incisor on the bottom left, and a final one next to the lateral incisor on the bottom right. These are the 4 canines. And to make it easier, canines are those 4 teeth which are very pointy within our mouths. This is the reason for why whenever we find a police dog squad, the dogs they have are normally referred to as canines. Why? Because they have very, very sharp teeth. We've got 4 of these. They are situated next to our lateral incisors. We now have 20 teeth remaining. We now have 20 teeth remaining. Why? We said that we have 32 in total. 32 minus the 8 incisors, which consist of central and lateral. Thereafter minus the 4 canines. So we have 8 plus 4, I think is 12. I'm not too good at maths. I'm trying to do the maths Umar radiyallahu ta'ala an commanded me to do. Hasibu anfusakum qabla an tuhasabu. 8 plus 4 is 12. 32 minus 12 leaves us with 20 teeth remaining. These remaining 20 teeth are known as the molars. The remainder of these 20 teeth are known as the molars. Where are they situated? We can say the back 5 teeth on the top right, the top left, the bottom right, and the bottom left. So 5 on the top right, plus 5 on the top left, 10, plus 5 on the bottom left, 15, plus 5 on the bottom right, 20. These 20 teeth are the molars. So 12 we already have, plus these 20 take us to the total number of teeth, 32. Within these molars, we've got 2 types. Number 1, premolars, and number 2, molars. So within molars, we've got 2 types. Just as once it came to incisors, we had 2 types. In a similar manner, once it comes to molars, again we've got 2 types. Number 1, premolars, and number 2, molars. Pre means what comes before. Post means what comes after. Those who are familiar with football or even boxing, they know pre-season and post-season. They know pre-fight and post-fight. Pre means before, prior to. Post means afterwards. So when we say premolars, we know that these come first. And when we say molars, we know they come afterwards. So from amongst these 20 molars we have, 8 are the premolars. 8 are the premolars. Which 8? 2 on the top right, 2 on the top left, 2 on the bottom right, 2 on the bottom left, which come attached to our canines. So 2 on the top right attached to our canines, 2 on the top left attached to our canines, 2 on the bottom left attached to our canines, and 2 on the bottom right attached to our canines. These 8 teeth are known as the premolars. We are then left with 12 teeth. These 12 which remain, 3 on the top at the back, on the right and left side, and 3 on the bottom at the back on the right and left side. These 3 multiplied by 4 leave us with 12 teeth. So these are our 32 teeth in total. The other day a student asked me that what about wisdom teeth? I said the majority of the people aren't wise, so we don't even discuss them, number 1. And at hearing this, he was disgusted. Number 2, I said to him that they aren't relevant once it comes to our recitation. They aren't relevant once it comes to the pronunciation of the Arabic letters. It's only up till our molars, and even molars, the gums of them are only relevant. For this reason, we don't even discuss wisdom teeth. The best way to refer to these teeth is not through the technical names. Why? Because an individual already has too much on his plate. He's for the first time trying to learn where the points of articulation are, where letters originate from. And if we bombard our students, or we bombard the masses by saying central incisors, lateral incisors, canines, premolars, molars, it'll take time getting around that within itself. So the best thing is, I normally, when teaching, mention the top two front teeth, the bottom two front teeth, or say, for example, I want to make mention of the incisors altogether, lateral and central, I say the 4 front teeth. If I want to include the canines, then I will say that the 6 front teeth. So this is the manner we should deal with it. If we want to mention the molars on a particular side at the top or bottom, for example, once it comes to the pronunciation of the letter Dad, we will say that when both sides of the tongue or either side of the tongue touches the gums of the upper back 5 teeth. So rather than saying the upper molars, we say the upper back 5 teeth. It makes it easier for people. So whilst going through the points of articulation, insha'Allah ta'ala, I will mention it in both ways so we can take it on board in a manner we can understand it, and hopefully we teach in the future in whatever capacity we can. Remember, we don't have to teach an individual on a very high level. Whatever we have, we assist people in accordance to that. This is a big misconception we have. Once it comes to spending in the path of Allah Ta'ala, we are helping other people through wealth. What do we say? Because we can't totally fulfill their need by giving them the money they require to buy a house, £120,000, we won't even aid them. We say, no, as much as we can do, we will do that much, then the next person will continue with them. Similarly, once it comes to Iman, once it comes to Islam, we all know a certain amount. Whatever we know properly, we play our part, then the remainder of the people will play their part. That will lead to other people's Tajwid, Iman and Islam becoming complete. We continue on. On the screen before us, we find names of the various parts of the mouth. Names of the various parts of the mouth. We all know what teeth are. Well, we should all know what teeth are. Whilst going to school, high school, or we can say college, uni, teeth are those things which people took out at certain times when they became frustrated with us. And if we want to explain to children, we say those teeth, those things which have fallen out due to eating too many sweets. So we all know what teeth are. Gums. Everyone knows what gums are. They come above the teeth. We have them above the top set of teeth and we have them beneath the bottom set of teeth. Lips. We've got the upper lip, we've got the lower lip. And to be more particular, even once it comes to the lips, we've got the inner portion, which is the moist portion. Then we have the outer portion, which is the dry portion. So upper lip, bottom lip. Then we've got the inner portion, which is the moist, and the outer portion, which is the dry. We all know what the tongue is. Allah Ta'ala save us all. The tongue is that thing which will take many towards paradise and take many to hell. So we all know the tongue. Let's continue on. Once we look towards the tongue, let me see what I can do. I don't think I'm too good with technology. I don't want to stop the sharing. Okay. Once it comes to the tongue, we've got the front of the tongue. We also have the tip of the tongue. We have the immediate tip of the tongue. We have the side of the tongue and we have the edge of the tongue. Remember these. I'm going to explain. We'll start off with the immediate tip of the tongue. The immediate tip of the tongue is the pointy part right at the front. The tip of the tongue is not that immediate, it's not the exact point at the front. Rather, it covers a little more area. That's the tip of the tongue. Next we have the front of the tongue. The front of the tongue covers more area in comparison to the tip of the tongue. Then on the right hand side, this is one side of the tongue. On the left hand side, this is another side of the tongue. This next word is very important. We now come to the edge of the tongue. The edge of the tongue isn't necessarily the side of the tongue, whereas the side of the tongue is always the edge of the tongue. Understand my wording. I don't want to go into any philosophical terms and say this is am khas min wajhin. Let's just understand that the side of the tongue is the edge of the tongue, whereas the edge of the tongue is not always the side of the tongue. Edge of the tongue can refer to any edge of the tongue. The right hand side, that's an edge. The left hand side, that is an edge. And even the front of the tongue is an edge of the tongue. However, once we look to the side of the tongue, that is an edge. Once we look towards the right or left side in particularly, then those are edges of the tongue. So whenever this word edge of the tongue is used, we shouldn't mistake it for the side of the tongue. Rather, to specify exactly what portion of the tongue is being referred to through the edge of the tongue, we need to look more further, and we need to look towards the mention of the gums or the teeth which this edge of the tongue needs to touch. If someone says to me that, I'm making this up, if someone says to me the letter Gaf, it's not even in the Arabic language, hypothetical example, someone says to me the letter Gaf originates when the edge of the tongue touches the upper forefront teeth. Now I know that the edge of the tongue can refer to any edge of the tongue, right, left, front. However, because we've understood the mention of the forefront teeth, we know the edge of the tongue refers to the front of the tongue. Continuing with the tongue, we have the middle of the tongue and the back of the tongue. The middle of the tongue and the back of the tongue, no need for explanation. We all know where the middle of the tongue is, we all know where the back of the tongue is. However, pay more attention now. Two more terms we need to familiarize ourselves with are, number one, the soft palate, and number two, the hard palate. Number one, the soft palate, and number two, the hard palate. The soft palate refers to that part of the mouth which comes directly above the back of the tongue. The soft palate refers to that portion of the mouth which is situated directly above the back of the tongue. Whereas the hard palate refers to that portion of the mouth which comes directly above the middle of the tongue. So the soft palate comes directly above the back of the tongue, whereas the hard palate comes directly above the middle of the tongue. I'm hoping we all understanding, even though you can't see me, even though I'm not making any marks on the screen, I've got great hope in the mercy of Allah Ta'ala that I am able to explain this to you in the perfect manner. So these are the various parts of the tongue and the various parts of the mouth.